Lightsabers are the legendary weapon of the Jedi and Sith, both elegant and powerful. But one lightsaber is especially unique. Created by the first Mandalorian to be inducted into the Jedi Order, the Darksaber featured an angular black blade and rectangular hilt. Seen as the symbol of Mandalorian leadership, many have wielded this legendary saber. Following the fall of the Empire, the Darksaber is now in new hands. How did he acquire it? What are his plans for it? All I know is that this time, the Darksaber is properly where it belongs. This is my tool. This is like my right arm. I'm so happy to have this. Mandalorian, October 30th, Season 2. Moff Gideon says, watch. I am so excited to be with you today. I have got so many surprises that I'm blown away. Well, I have to tell you, when I got the phone call, I was incredibly excited and blown away to be a part of a world and a universe that has the most villainous villains and the most heroic heroes. To me, it's stepping into history. And for me also, it's a wonderful show that really encompasses all of the power of myth. And so I jumped out of my skin when I found out that Jon Favreau wanted me to be a part of this show, because it allowed me to realize how important this particular series of movies and now this live action television show is. Fans went nuts, specifically and especially when they saw the tip of that angular blade of the Darksaber reveal itself through the door of my TIE fighter.
Yeah.
And me following my hand out, they went crazy. One of my favorite moments of the show, because of the physicality of having to come out of that burned out TIE fighter, but the heroic nature and feeling of I've survived this crash, and not only that, here's a little teaser and surprise for you. They hinted at it and certainly helped me to understand how powerful it was, and I had to learn how to hold it properly, how not to let my wrist bend. You keep your wrist strong. And normally, if you're right-handed, you put your left hand on top. If you're left-handed, you put your right hand on top. And you have to not break your wrist to get through the stroke. This weapon, this tool will do anything. The thing is to let it go, is to let it get sweeping motions that allow it to soar. And it will do exactly what you want it to do. What I love is the connection between the sound of it, because this sound is the sound of the future. It's the sound of Moff Gideon. And you know that you have something I want.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my new Star Wars The Mandalorian Season 2 video all about the Darksaber, Giancarlo Esposito, narrating a whole bunch of history. We'll get into that. And the episodes are starting this Friday. I'll be doing videos for all of the Season 2 episodes, just like Season 1. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos and make sure you enable alerts so you don't miss anything. We'll do a giveaway for Disney Plus memberships. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave all your predictions for The Mandalorian Season 2 on the video. So just starting with the big stuff first, Giancarlo Esposito narrates some of the history of the Darksaber, gives us a preview for what we're going to be covering during Season 2 in terms of Star Wars history, including Moff Gideon's personal backstory in the Star Wars universe. We already know a little bit about his history from the Easter eggs in Season 1, and we know a lot about the Darksaber's history in the Star Wars universe because of all the other series. It's tied up in the history of the Mandalorian's culture, and the show is literally all about Mandalorians, as the title implies. There are also a bunch more Mandalorian characters coming to Season 2, like Katie Sackhoff's Bo-Katan and Boba Fett. But number 4, the biggest thing about Season 2 in the Darksaber isn't so much explaining its long-term history in the Star Wars universe. They'll do that too, but the bigger thing is explaining where Moff Gideon got it from, or who he got it from. Because charting the timeline of events, the things that we know already, Sabine Wren, a Mandalorian from the Star Wars Rebels series, gave it to Bo-Katan Kryze a couple years before the events of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. The whole reason that she gave it to her was so that she could use it to help unite the remaining Mandalorian clans under a single banner as the rebellion was finally taking shape and the Empire was still in the process of going around subjugating the galaxy after the events of the prequels in Revenge of the Sith. So if you go back and you watch the Clone Wars Season 7 episodes from earlier this year, that's why Bo-Katan doesn't have the Darksaber during this period. Most of that period during the Clone Wars, several years before the events of Star Wars Rebels, it was actually Darth Maul who had the Darksaber, even though you don't actually see him wielding it right here. He took it from Jon Favreau's character Pre Vizsla a couple years earlier, the leader of the Death Watch Mandalorians, who we actually saw in a flashback scene from The Mandalorian Season 1. Notice the crest on all their armor. This is the Death Watch Mandalorians rescuing a very young Din Djarin, although we don't know if Pre Vizsla himself was here for this particular event. Pre Vizsla, played by Jon Favreau, the showrunner on The Mandalorian, who also did the voice of the infantryman Mandalorian in live action, who was also a member of the Vizsla clan. The circle of cameos is now complete. But then, during the Clone Wars period, after Darth Maul took the Darksaber from Pre Vizsla, he used his crime syndicate to take over the entire planet of Mandalore, occupy it. Then during one of the final arcs in the Clone Wars Season 7, they covered the Siege of Mandalore event, and that was when Ahsoka took a company of clone troopers and helped Bo-Katan and her loyalists retake the planet from Maul. All the animation was totally on point. It was amazing. The reason why you didn't see Darth Maul using the Darksaber during this fight with Ahsoka was because during this period, he had actually taken it back to Dathomir. So the Darksaber is basically chilling out with the Night Sisters till the events of Star Wars Rebels when they went to pick it up. But the really cool Easter egg also from behind the scenes here too is that they actually did motion capture for this fight on Star Wars The Clone Wars, bringing Ray Park back to do Darth Maul motion capture. He's also supposed to be a character during the Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi series. That's going to take place during a period when Darth Maul was still alive, but after the events of the Clone Wars Season 7 episodes. So I'll cover all that stuff when we start getting previews for that Star Wars Obi-Wan series. That's all kind of separate from what's happening on The Mandalorian, but because it's all happening within the Star Wars timeline before the events of The Mandalorian, we might see some Easter eggs for future Mandalorian stuff. So we pick up with the Darksaber during Star Wars Rebels. That's when Ezra Bridger, Darth Maul go to retrieve it, and eventually it winds up in the hands of Sabine Wren, who then gives it to Bo-Katan. And even though there was a post-credit scene in the Star Wars Rebels finale, that takes place right after the events of Return of the Jedi, just a couple years before the events of The Mandalorian Season 1 TV series. There was a time jump during that episode where you're basically a couple years before the events of A New Hope, but then in that post-credit scene, you basically jump to Return of a Jedi. So they skip over all the events of the original trilogy, and they don't tell you what happened to Bo-Katan, the Mandalorians, or the Darksaber. They only give you some hints during The Mandalorian Season 1. But that's all part of the history that they're going to get into on The Mandalorian Season 2, because Moff Gideon already teased that he was working for the Imperial Security Bureau near Mandalore, the planet, during the events of the Great Purge, which happened after this moment in Rebels, but before the events of Return of the Jedi. The Great Purge is basically when the Emperor pulled another version of Order 66 on the Mandalorian people when they refused to bow to his will and join the Empire like the rest of the galaxy. That's when they started living in all these sleeper cells hidden all over the Outer Rim planets, and that's how we get to Boba Fett and Katie Sackhoff's live-action version of Bo-Katan. During the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer they released a little while ago, the Mandalorian is talking to someone saying that if he can find other Mandalorians in the Outer Rim, maybe they can help him find the remaining Jedi who are alive during this period in history. That's obviously also a teaser for the Ahsoka Tano reveal as well, because she is the Jedi that he's looking for. Technically, obviously, part of different storylines, because Boba Fett is mostly localized to all the Tatooine stuff that we see in the trailers. Bo-Katan is probably more connected to what's going on with the Ahsoka storyline. The Mandalorian Season 2 Episode 1 is coming this Friday. All my episode videos will post every Friday, just like Season 1 episodes. There are 8 episodes total, 1 per week, so the season finale will be around mid-December. All the Avengers Wandavision episodes are supposed to be released after The Mandalorian Season 2, and I'll be doing videos for that as well. So there's a lot of really big stuff coming up. But there might be a couple more big trailers this week, so whatever ends up happening, of course I'll do videos for it. Marvel also just announced that Oscar Isaac, Star Wars person from the Star Wars movies, is going to be their new Moon Knight for the Moon Knight Disney Plus series. So he's jumping from the Star Wars universe to the Marvel universe. I'll be doing a video for that. It should post in the next day or so. But everyone, click here for the full Mandalorian Season 2 trailer and Easter eggs, and click here for my new Spider-Man 3 Sinister 6 teaser video and Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. This is the way.